guess the first thing I want to do is just take off this and let you all see what's been created here.
Wow. Beautiful.
Thank all of you for coming here this morning as we dedicate this water fountain in memory of my wife Rosemary. So let me tell you first, 15 months later I'm still emotional when I talk about Rosemary, so I'm not apologizing, just warning you. So, I first met Rosemary and fell in love with her more than 40 years ago, and we had a happy marriage for 37 years. A lot of things attracted me to her, but one of the first things was her always present smile. That smile never left her face, and it was kind of a window into who she was as a person. Genuine, caring, and always looking to help somebody else if it was all possible. We retired in 2010 with an idea of getting out of the rat race and traveling as much as we could or that we could afford, and seeing as much of this big wonderful world that God created as we were able to. And we had about 5 years where we traveled and saw many foreign countries and traveled within the US and Canada. And we thought we had laid out a plan that would carry us through that phase of our lives and on into old age together, but then cancer raised its head in our family, and from that moment on our lives were irrevocably changed. So the pleasure trips became unending trips to the doctor and the hospitals and the operating rooms and the treatment centers. But through all of that, Rosemary endured it with the same familiar smile, and she never gave up that she was going to be better one day. It was probably less than 6 weeks after her first major surgery that she decided that she wanted to walk back out here again, and I couldn't convince her that it was too early to do it, but she said to do things that we used to do together made her feel less sick and more normal. So we started the walks again, and for those couple of hours every day, it seemed like we were able to put our worries and fears behind us and just enjoy being out here together, meeting people, just being together. This is a great place to walk. It's peaceful, it's quiet, it'll calm your nerves. So we had almost a year and a half with time out for more treatments to enjoy that time together before she passed away. Cancer is an ugly word, and it took away a lot of things from us. It took away our peace of mind. It took away our ability to make long-range plans. It took away Rosemary's energy. It didn't, however, take away her spirit. It didn't take away her smile, and most importantly, it never took away her faith in God. She always believed that she was going to beat cancer, and usually every morning greeted me with a saying that became a familiar refrain every morning: "Today means I'm one day closer to being well again." And she believed that, and I did too. But we didn't have the ultimate say. The Almighty did, and while we may not understand it, we know that God doesn't make mistakes. So after Rosemary passed away, I wanted to create something more than just a name on a wall that would help to perpetuate her memory. And I knew it needed to be something in her spirit of giving and helping other people. It needed to be something that would be a benefit to others. And so the idea of building this fountain came to mind, and I set about trying to figure out how to get it done. And I think you can believe me when I tell you there were a few more I's with the dot and T's to cross, and regulations to satisfy as regards building something within the flood zone that just had to be satisfied before it could be done. But all of that's behind us. Help from a lot of people, to name a few. I don't want to miss anybody, but Kenny Story at the Parks and Recreation was a big help, as was Kevin Pritchard, who was responsible for bringing the water to here. Jenny Wheelock, the town planner, who ultimately had to sign off on this, and Richard Andrews was responsible for bringing the water here, and John Lutz was the rock mason who built this. So with their help, all of the obstacles that we face were overcome, and what you see in front of you is the result of a lot of people pulling together to get it done. So it's my hope that this thing stands here for many years, reminding people of Rosemary and her, what to me is her legacy of being kind and generous with her time, and that it will render aid and comfort to whoever chooses to stop by here as they use this greenway for years to come. So with that, I'm done. I said all I want to, but Rosemary was one of a kind. There won't any come along like her, and so I dedicate this. It's going to be turned over to the town for their upkeep after this, but I'm proud of it, and I think she would be. What we're going to do now, if there's anybody here that knew Rosemary that has anything that they would like to say, please feel free to do so. We have people from the town, including the mayor and several people that I don't personally know. The mayor is here, so we'll let them have time to say what they want to say after that, and then I'm going to ask David Melton, he's the new pastor of First Methodist Church, if he would have a prayer to close. So anybody that has anything that they'd like to say about Rosemary or remembrance, feel free to do it.
Well, my friend here,
Here, let me.
my sweet Riley, she was having a pedicure. Many of you know I'm an old teacher, an administrator. But Rosie was my good friend, they were good neighbors and good friends for 37 years, 25 years, longer. It felt like 50. And I just kind of, this just came to me, and I'd like to just kind of take her name, and I'd like to just tell you a little bit about what Rosie meant to me, and through her name. R is for reverent. She loved her patients, friends, and strangers, always greeting them with a smile that often reminded me of Samantha on Bewitched. Some of us are old enough to remember that show. It seemed like, and she had that little nose, had a cute little nose.
She did.
It seemed like her little nose twitched when she gave you that big smile. Reverent because she loved her Lord and her faith was infinite. Her courage was a great example to all who knew her. And I can't forget the most important R words, that being the dynamic duo of Richard, Rosie, and Riley, their four-legged child. Oh gosh, optimistic. Rosie always saw the glass half full, never half empty. She was full of life, love, and would do anything for a friend. She always had a kind word or thought, and even when she spoke her mind, she still had a smile. S, service to others. As I said, she never met a stranger. In her career as a nurse, she was truly like Florence Nightingale, going above and beyond to help others. And as a friend, she was always there for you. Serene, even in the face of the inevitable, she was at peace. Her countenance gave those around her peace and comfort. I, intuitive. Sometimes Rosie knew what you were thinking before you ever said anything. That happened quite a few times. She was very alert to others' feelings. I remember one time, or one of many times, when we would hold each other's hands and there was a feeling of calm and peace around us. It's humidity. And E, finally E. The Energizer Bunny. Yes, that was our Rosie. She could go for from 0 to 80 miles an hour, especially when she was on her walks. She used to wear me out. And I know you know what I'm saying because many of you have been walking with her over the years. Now as we walk on the Greenway, friends and strangers will be comforted by a cool drink of water with Rosie smiling down at them. I know she's with us every day, and what a wonderful memory we have of our Rosie. Thank you, Richard, for making this memory available to all who pass this way. Our angel Rose is with us always.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Rosie and Richard and I pull for different teams. I gave this hat to Rosie and had an angel put on it. And Richard gave it back to me. Now wear it proud.
I wanted him to have something other than that Duke thing he uses.
Pastor Dave, Richard and I bet on ball games. I always bet on Duke, and he always bets on Carolina. But we put our winnings in the collection plate.
Let's increase those bets.
It's not so bad after all. I love Rosie, and we had a lot of good sparring about Carolina and Duke. But I bought this hat for Rosie, and had this angel embroidered on the side. She had to wear hats there for a while, and she wore this proudly, of course. And I was happy to see her walking with the hat. And thank you for giving it back to me, Richard.
Thank you.
I'll just say a couple words. Most of you, some of you know me, some of you don't. And Mr. Marlowe here came to me one day. I'm Kenny Story, and I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Lenoir. So he came to me one day and started talking about this. And like he said before, we had to jump through some hoops to get it up. With this being in a floodplain, floodway, we did get the hoops jumped through. We didn't think we were going to, with all the legalities and all that with floodways and floodplains, but we never stopped working, and we stayed together. I didn't know Rosemary, but didn't know Mr. Marlowe until he came to me about this, and I was so excited for him. He's a good man, and he cares about our Parks and Recreation Department. So thank you for this. And these guys over here for the city, they know how much work we put into it. Kevin Pritchard, Radford, Chief Phelps, and the mayor, and Hannah here in planning. She worked hours on this thing to get this done. So thanks to all of you for being here for us. Mayor, I'd like to take a word.
Mr. Marlowe. Thank you. We're so excited to accept this on behalf of the City of Lenoir and its citizens. On behalf of the City Council, thank you for this wonderful tribute to, sounds like just a wonderful lady. I wish I had gotten to know her, and it sounds like that she enjoyed something we're very proud of is our Greenway. The soccer complex is part of our city now. These children and people who are walking this can enjoy this very much. And thank you for that. Thank you for thinking of that, and this will be something that we will take care of and honor, and I hope everyone will enjoy it every day and think about your lovely Rosie as they do. But we certainly appreciate that. I wish you would take the first drink.
You know, when I tried that the first time when it was hooked up, they forgot to put a pressure valve on it.
Oh!
When I stood in front of it, that water hit those bushes. So I've been a little leery of it ever since.
Looks like it. Okay.
We got it now.
Oh, great. There we go.
Riley wants a drink too.
Yeah, that's the way.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to?
There's one.
First I have to see if it works on little kids.
Little people, yay!
There we go.
Hi, my name is Ruby, and I met Rosemary through Julie, and Richard was my husband's boss at the post office for many years, and I won't tell you what he shared with me. But besides being the perfect human being that Rosemary was, has any one of you learned how to do this? What is that called? I have not learned that yet, but I will always remember her when I think of
I'd just like to say that I fell in love with Rosemary from the time I met her. She was a very good person, and I saw her go through some trying times. So, Richard, we're here for you.
I spent many hours walking with Rosie before Richard came out every day, but with both of them. And Richard and I always said how she just loved her own jokes. And she told us all the time that her main purpose in life was to make him and I laugh, and man, we laughed hard sometimes. And when you bring up the sports thing, you know, Rosie really didn't know a lot about sports, but boy, she cheered as hard as anybody I've ever seen. And Richard and I would get into many discussions too, because we cheer for the opposite teams too, and she would just be right in there and talking about basketball and football and plays, and I just miss her every day. She's one of my best friends.
One of the things I'll tell on her that created probably the biggest laugh we ever shared with her was Rosemary trying to explain how you took a selfie with your cell phone. She didn't know there was such a thing as a reverse button on it. So she invented a new way to go about it. We had several laughs over that. But she, like everything else, she took everything in stride and laughed a lot along with it. Anybody else have anything, or not? I'll ask Dave Melton, pastor, if he will please dismiss us with a prayer.
First of all, Richard, it's an honor to be here with you and with our folks here. This is a big morning, and what a great addition to our beautiful Greenway. Goodness, how classy and beautiful. And it's a wonderful tribute that you worked hard to get accomplished with a lot of these folks who are very helpful. Let us bow for prayer. What a glorious morning it is, Lord, as we gather here in one of the most precious spots of your creation. We thank you for the life of Rosemary Smith Marlowe. We pray that you hold her close to you right now, and cause us to know of your love for all of us. Thank you for the water of life, Lord, that quenches our spirits when nothing else can. Thank you for this water that will encourage us to continue walking and fill our bodies with that water of life as well. We thank you for those who worked long and hard to get this beautiful fountain accomplished, and pray that you might continue to draw people close to you in and through it. And now we dedicate this fountain to the glory of God and to the memory of Rosemary Smith Marlowe. May it truly quench the thirst physically of those who walk and ride and skateboard through here. And may it remind us of your ultimate thirst-quenching water of life. It's in the name of Jesus Christ, my Lord, that I pray. Amen.
Again, thank everybody for coming out this morning. It's a special day.
And everybody have a drink before you leave. Off of 18.
Okay.
Absolutely.